If most of your flights look like this, then you are not alone. Flying at the airport is absolutely getting worse, and in this video, I'm going to show you why. My last handful of flights came with all the flying issues you can think of, and every time I go to the airport, I fear it'll be worse than the last. But is this just me? To find that out, I took a look at the flying data over the last few years, and spoiler alert, it's not just me. But first, I need you to understand what my flying experience has been looking like. Here you go.
Thank you. Have a nice flight.
Thank you.
Attention all passengers, we are going to have to stay on the plane for a couple more hours.
One eternity later.
Fine. What the? You get the idea. All of those things make for a bad flying experience, and data shows I'm not the only one these things happen to. I researched the data over the last few decades and found a few confirming facts that the flying experience is getting worse, but also some unexpected things. I don't want to bore you with a bunch of random numbers and data points, but to prove my point that the flying experience is getting worse, I want to identify a few downward trends and need to look at some numbers briefly. First, data shows that though 2024 wasn't the worst year for cancellations and delays, it's the second worst in the last 2 decades, right behind 2023. And sadly, though my wallet makes me fly with Frontier far too often, I know from first-hand experience that it's not just them. Breaking down each airline over the last decade, we find that the 3 worst airlines to fly on, if you want on-time flights, are Frontier, Spirit, and JetBlue, while the 3 best are Hawaiian Airlines, United, and Delta. They technically move around a bit depending on the range you look at, and I was surprised to learn that Frontier was one of the higher ones during COVID. Though these are all just general ranks over the last 5 years of data, I'm not here to rank airlines. And the sad fact is that every airline's on-time flight percentage seems to be trending down, even if you consider pre-COVID flights. Cancellations are definitely a problem and are going up, but a much larger percentage of flights are affected by delays. The main causes of these delays are air carrier delay, national aviation system delay, and aircraft arriving late, which we'll dig into all of these later, but just know that about 30% of all delays are within the airline's control. Another thing that contributes to the worsening airline experience is handling of bags. That's how they've been getting treated. Far too often, my checked bags have been hitting the option post coming around the carousel, and that's because there are more incidents now than ever of baggage getting lost, damaged, or stolen. At least that's what I'd like to say. The data is a bit confusing because it seems that BTS switched from counting just reports to confirmed incidents per 1,000 passengers. So if these two numbers are correlated in any way, then 2022 and 2023 are in the top 3 worst baggage handling years since 2010. American Airlines is apparently the worst on this list, and Frontier isn't even high on this list because it's far too expensive to have bags with them anyway. But with the data of delays and mistreating bags, I hope I have enough evidence to convince you that the flying experience is getting worse, without even mentioning the other issues that come with flying. But why is it getting worse? Remember when I mentioned we'd get back to the delays? Well, I hope so, because that was less than 3 minutes ago.
I suffer from short-term memory loss.
To refresh the Dories in the group, there are 3 main factors that cause delays: air carrier, national aviation system, and aircraft arriving late. But what do these mean? Well, air carrier delay is the 30% that I'd mentioned before. That's due to individual airlines not completing bag transfers, having staffing problems, or having maintenance issues. But if you take a closer look at the other 2, you realize there's a common factor. When I looked into aircraft arriving late and national aviation system delays, their number 1 cause is because of weather conditions. So while we've been looking at airlines this entire time, more often than not, it seems that frequent weather problems are increasing, leading to a worse flying experience. So, is it always going to get worse? Luckily, not quite, and I can end this video on a positive note. First, we can't predict the weather. Hold on. Oh. Okay, apparently we can predict the weather, and it seems that area might not be improving anytime soon. But if you don't believe in weather science, hopefully you can trust the science of engineering. Because new planes are being built to better withstand weather conditions and give us safer and faster flights.
Millions of passengers around the world who can benefit from supersonic.
You think that many people want to go supersonic?
I think everybody wants to go supersonic.
Airlines are starting to have to take accountability for excessively bad experiences.
I mean, you guys do appreciate that flying on your airlines is a disaster, don't you? Well, I think we are going to do something about it.
And despite scary headlines you might have seen recently, flight safety is still at an all-time high. So although flying sucks now, it's still safer than ever, and change is actively being done to fix the flying experience. So stay positive. My bags might have suffered the airline treatment, but there's still less than 1% chance that happens to you. Thanks again for watching and listening to my airline rant. Try to enjoy your next flight, and I will see you in the next video.